Yeah, it's summertime, but we're getting closer to the fall. And I'll tell you what, the biggest signal that we're getting closer to the fall is that Utah State sports are just about to begin. And it's not going to start with football or basketball. It's going to start, as always, with Utah State soccer. And to help preview that, we've got head coach of Utah State soccer, Manny Martins, on the show with us. How you doing, Manny?
I am doing fantastic. The fact that I'm on the radio means season's right around the corner.
Yeah, it certainly does. We're glad to have you on and to discuss this. And yeah, 2 weeks before football gets rolling out, we got to have people out there watching Utah State soccer. I believe the season opener is at Washington State, though, right?
That's correct.
Okay, so they're not going to be at home for a few more games, but still. So, sports is happening. Soccer's happening. I know soccer right now is the MLS season. My brother always wants to remind people it's not the dog days of summer because soccer is still happening.
That's right.
We're getting
Exactly.
we're getting things going with college soccer. And I guess just what are your thoughts on just the feeling of getting back into things, obviously, with training camp and all that? How have things been going for the team overall before we get into too many specifics about players and whatnot?
Yeah, it's been great. Our group, they report right after 4th of July for Captain's Camp. They do a fantastic job of taking ownership. For those 3 weeks, we're not allowed to work with them, but they do a great job of, getting it going, getting the culture going, starting to implement some of our principles of how we play and our game model. And we started with them this week and five sessions in, and I feel like we're ahead of where we normally would have been. And I think it's a byproduct of the work they've done over Captain's Camp. So it's exciting.
I do want to ask you about your opener. I know it's on the road, as we said, but it is against a future Pac-12 conference member. What do you know about Washington State and their soccer program generally, and about this team that you're going to be facing here in just a few weeks?
Well, I happen to know quite a bit about Washington State because at my previous stop, we were in the same conference, so played a lot, coached a lot against them, and it's a coach that's had a lot of success. It's a program that's been in the Final Four in the last 10 years or so. They have a very clear identity, and I expect to be a tough game. I mean, they were one of the few teams that kept us from scoring last year. And I think they're going to put up the same type of fight, and we just have to come in prepared to not only deal with that, but find ways to score and get a result.
So, and shifting away from road games to home games, your first one is against Kansas. You'll be hosting them at Chuck and Gloria Belfield. But the exciting part, I think, that is that I imagine you'll be unveiling all the upgrades to the stadium. Redid the soccer field, put in lights. I know there's a video of you guys testing out the lights with the team on the field. Just how excited are you and the team to be able to play on this, remade field?
If I were any more excited, I couldn't be, because it's something that it's been a long time coming. It's been the effort of a lot of people, starting with our players that have worked really hard to put us in a position where the investment makes sense, but also obviously friends of the program that made it possible. And, just even being out there and training, you can feel that the surface is different. Having the ability to play night games, being able to have more people in the community come out is just, it's going to be a game changer. So super excited. And yes, we're unveiling it on the weekend where we play Kansas. So on the 23rd, we actually have our season kickoff event and our ribbon cutting. So those of you that are around, there's ways to RSVP and be part of the event. And then on the 24th, we host Kansas, and they are the defending Big 12 tournament champs. So it should be a really, really good game.
Well, and you follow that up with another interesting opponent with Utah coming up here just a few days later. Your schedule, like putting your schedule together, you've got a number of schools from P5 institutions, programs that have been successful, as you talked about with Washington State, Utah, Texas Tech. You've got a really interesting non-conference schedule that you've put together. Walk us through your philosophy about what led you to put this together based on the team and the roster that you have to deal with this season?
Well, I think it all starts with our mission. We want to be a program that competes for championships at our conference level and on a national stage, right? If we can win conference championships, go into postseason, and then compete on that level as well. So in order to do that, we have to know what it's like to play in those kind of games. So playing opponents that are regular, NCAA tournament participants, conference champions, just level of opponents that are going to prepare us to be comfortable in those moments, going to prepare us for our conference play and give us a chance to win. But also from an RPI standpoint, these are opponents that, if we play our cards right and get the right results, give us the opportunity to potentially earn an at-large bid in the event that we don't win a conference tournament.
And obviously that scheduling paid off for you last year because you probably would have gotten an at-large bid, though you didn't need it since you won the Mountain West tournament. It ended up helping you host a game at Bell Field. But I want to talk about, kind of comparison with last year. Last year you went, 18-1-5. Amazing season, ranked in the top 25 for much of that year. I think even getting into the top 10 if memory serves, or just outside of it. But lost a lot of players on the defensive end, returning a lot of players on the offensive end. What do you see from this team compared to last year's team? Well, obviously last year's team was, you might call it a magical run, or you could use a bunch of superlatives for that season. But what do you see of this year's team and the ability to kind of live up to some of what last year's team did?
Well, it's definitely in some aspects we're a different and a new team. We're a lot younger. I like to think of it, we're starting our second 4-year cycle. So last year's group completed our first 4-year cycle, and now as we go into this next cycle, from an experience standpoint, there's some work to be done, and we can't manufacture experience, right? We're going to have to get on the field, play some games, and learn some lessons along the way. But I look at where we were 4 years ago in terms of just the depth of the roster and the overall diversity of options and possibilities with the roster. I feel like we're a couple notches ahead of where we were 4 years ago. So it's one of those where we're starting a new cycle, but I feel like we're starting it in some ways ahead of where we were 4 years ago. So overall, I think that we'll be still in a position that we're going to compete and be contenders for the conference and beyond. But over the next 4 years, I think we should be able to really strive to do even more than what we've done over the last 4 years.
You've always had some great talent, and great leaders seem to emerge out of this program that you've put together. First question, I got a two-part question. The first is, have you already identified your captains for this season?
Yeah, we have one captain. That's Summer Diamond. But we do have a leadership council. Obviously, Summer is a part of that. And then we have Tess Words, Kaylee Chambers. We have Kate Christian and Kata Wilson. So it's a fantastic group. I think that, they've done a great job over our captain's camp. You can really see that the team is ahead of where we expected them to be from a culture standpoint, from understanding our game model. So they've already hit the ground running, and I think they're the right people to help lead and to help develop other leaders within the program.
So with I guess the second part of that is just with some of the players you named, I was going to ask about just their leadership with the team, their experience with the team, and what the expectations are now for Utah State soccer being able to compete at that high level. And some, how are they continuing to grow and develop into their roles too?
Yeah, and that's a big part of the process is, when and these are all players that have had a lot of success with us. They've had their own success, and the added responsibility of the leadership. Not that they weren't leaders before, but when you add a title to it, there's a greater awareness to it. So that's now my job, the job of our staff, to help them navigate that process in terms of how to how to continue to lead through the season without losing sight of who they are and what their role is, and continue to maintain their own personalities when it comes to performance on the field.
So I want to ask about, kind of what you're expecting from some of these veteran offensive players. I think you mentioned some of their names when talking about the Leadership Council, but you returned 4 of your top 5 goal scorers, and that same group are also 4 of your top 5 getters in points. Players like Tess Wertz, Kate Christian, Kaylee Chambers, Summer Dime. Like, we watched these players go from like young, promising freshmen and sophomores to like last year. Most of those gals were all conference players, leaders on the team in producing. Now that they're entering kind of the veteran stage of their career, what expectations do you have on them now as they continue to grow and continue to lead this team?
Yeah, the expectations are no different. Actually, the change in the expectations is more on our part as staff, because I've done this long enough where, players that after having the emerging season, sometimes the biggest thing to manage is expectations, because the expectation is really about how they prepare, what's their effort, what's their commitment to giving into the program, and the outcomes are all byproducts of it. But once you have success and you're young, sometimes you try to prioritize outcome, and that's not recipe for success. So it's my job, the job of the staff, to help manage that, to help keep them focused on how they get to where they are, is how they're going to continue to progress. And that is, as we say, we focus on what we give into the program, and in that way we influence what we get.
We're talking to Manny Martins. He's the head coach of the Utah State women's soccer program. Their first game of the season starts on August 14th, less than 2 weeks away at Washington State. And Coach, I wanted to ask about your defense, but particularly in the net, your experience in the net, and how you see that rotation kind of playing out so far.
I'm actually really, really excited about our goalkeeping situation. We have 4 goalkeepers. We have, I like to say that we have been, in the last few years, we've been center back U and goalkeeper U. We've had De'Ara Walton for 5 years and pretty much set all the goalkeeping records. And then we had Cora last year, who did a fantastic job, was Mountain West Newcomer of the Year. And this year we have a really good group. We have Ava Gotzi returning, and then we have a freshman, Ivy Nystrom, who has a tremendous amount of potential. And then we have 2 transfers, Taylor Rath and Ali Grassoff, who are both very experienced. Right now I'm projecting that the 2 of them are fighting for the number 1 position. But collectively, I want to say this is the best group of goalkeeping that we've had, the most deep and with diverse qualities that should be able to help us deal with most situations we're going to face.
So, no, Taylor Rath, you actually went against her last year because you faced Pepperdine in the season opener, beat them 4-0. 2 of those came against Taylor. I guess that didn't hurt her too much as far as recruiting, the fact that you got 2 goals on her.
No, it's funny enough. We do a lot of film here, and this year just a couple of moments and phases that we were teaching at clips from that game. So there's been a couple times that I had to look at Taylor and say, "Hey, don't take this personal. It's not about you." But she's been great about it, and she's been awesome also for the culture. Great individual.
So you mentioned also being center back U, and that's obviously been very true. You've had multiple defensive player of the years, players of the year. I don't know how to pluralize that, but coming from the center back, at least the back line, multiple of them going pro, getting looks with NWSL or other leagues. But you lost pretty much the entire defense. If I was doing the math right, what does that back line look like as far as players you've tried to bring in, as well as some of the freshmen you've brought in? Because we've got several freshman defenders coming in as well.
Correct. So I mean, it's a tremendous opportunity for us, to get it right for the long haul. We obviously want to win. We want to win now, and I believe that we're equipped to do it. because we're so young and so new, I know that we're going to have to learn some lessons through errors that are going to help us grow. But I think that whatever we do this year, which I think is going to be good, is going to be a great foundation again for the next 4 or 5 years because we're so young. As much as I would have preferred to have a little bit more of a rotation in moving, graduating backs and getting new ones in, I think the silver lining with moving everyone on through graduation and getting a whole new line is once we get it figured out, we should have, pretty similar to last year, we could have a group that will start and work together for the better part of 4 years.
Coach, looking over your schedule just one more time, I don't see Grand Canyon in there. Is that going to happen? Do they have a women's soccer program? I know they were a late addition to the conference, but where were they sliding in on your schedule?
Yeah, so with the addition of Grand Canyon, they had to make some changes to the schedule, and with an odd number of teams, 13 teams, we had to go from 11-game season to a 9-game season. So now we don't play two of the opponents. So we actually won't play Grand Canyon, and we will not play UNLV. So the only possibility of playing them this season would be in the Mountain West tournament.
I was curious about your thoughts about Grand Canyon joining the conference overall. I suddenly forget, because I looked at what their record was last year, but I suddenly can't remember just how good of a program they've been overall. Just your thoughts on them. 1 year seeing them in the conference before leaving.
Yeah, no, they're very good. They're Coach Chris does a fantastic job. They've done really well in capitalizing on the transfer portal, so helps them keep a really experienced group of players. They've been very competitive. He's been there about as long as I've been here at Utah State, and from day one he turned them around and made them really competitive. So I think they add to the profile of the conference. They are the kind of program that adding them to the conference just helps us have better RPI games and increases the possibility, depending on how everyone else's schedules are done, where we could be a two-bid conference. Again, if I had my way, we would play them because it would have been a really good game. But I'm hoping that we get into postseason and have an opportunity to play them because, again, it's always a good game. We played them at their place last year. It was a good game, and they actually had played us here 2 years before.
So last question for me, Coach. You continue to mine talent from Cache Valley. I think 4 of your incoming freshmen are from Cache Valley, 3 of them from Mountain Crest, and then 1 from Green Canyon. Just thoughts on, I don't know if we should talk about this because you've said before, it's like this is one of the greatest secrets. Maybe we shouldn't talk about it too much, but just you continue to get talent out of the Valley over and over, and a lot of your stars coming from the Valley as well.
Yes. I mean, this has been an added benefit with the job. When I first arrived at Utah State, I knew that there was a lot of talent in Utah because I've always recruited Utah, but I wasn't aware of the amount of talent in the Cache Valley. So when I got here, I inherited a certain amount of that talent, and I mean, some of those players helped us win the last 2 championships, from Busy Aravalo to Kylie Olsen to Whitney Lopez and others. And now, obviously, we have Austin Miller that had a fantastic freshman season for us and is only going to continue to grow. Our freshmen coming in, the twins, Bentley and Hadley Barrera, they both have potential that in the time that they're here, I'd be surprised if they don't become all-conference players. Caprell Winder, I mean, she could be a game changer this year. She's one of a kind, learning fast, and one that, like, from day one has already earned everybody's respect. Summer Saphonia, who was a later add to the class, but someone that is already showing that her ceiling is very, very high. And sometimes we almost equate her to a Kelsey Kafusi. So, yeah, tremendous amount of talent locally, and for me, I'm glad that we have this path that hopefully keeps, coaches from getting into this valley and coming recruit them out of here, because I think these kids are going to help us continue to stay competitive and raise the profile of our program.
You're not making it easy for coaches to avoid here, because they keep seeing stars on your team coming out of Cache Valley. So we'll see how long you can fend them off. But thank you so much for coming on. We're obviously looking forward to the season again. Season begins August 14th, but first game at Chuck and Gloria Bell Field on August 24th, and then the ribbon cutting on August 23rd. You said you can RSVP to go there. Is there anything you want to share for people to be able to come to that?
Yes, I don't have the web address, but if you go on our social media, there is a post on our Instagram and our Twitter, or X, I should say, with information on how to RSVP for it. We want friends of the program to come out and support, be a part of this new annual season kickoff event, and hopefully get us on the right foot into another successful season.
All right, we're looking forward definitely to another successful season.
Yeah, and we'll be sure to share out those details so folks can see that and have the opportunity to go check out the new field and the lights and all the excitement that you guys got for your upcoming seasons. And again, thanks for your time today, Coach, and best of luck this season.
Hey, thank you for having me.
No problem. All right, we're going to take another break. We'll be back. We'll take a break. We'll be back after this here on the Full Court Press.